hits on YouTube a month. One man has achieved this, and the videos he's posting of him riding elevators. In tonight's first-person report, we speak to the man about why he's shooting these videos and who's watching.
My name is Andrew Reams. I live in Roanoke, Virginia. I work for the railroad, but I have a very interesting hobby. I love elevators.
Here are the elevators.
On my YouTube channel, I basically go around the country doing videos documenting various elevators. Right now, I'm averaging about 1.2 million hits a month on YouTube. I myself have a form of autism called Asperger's syndrome, and I'd say 90% of the people that watch my videos are fellow autistic people.
Here it comes.
One of the symptoms of Asperger's syndrome is fixating on certain things, and obviously, you know, my fixation is elevators, and that's originally why I started videotaping them, was kind of to channel my obsession or fixation in a healthy way. And then when I started taking this to the internet, I was able to connect with other people that have the same fixation and the same condition that I have. I hear from my viewers a lot.
Nice leveling.
And I'd say 3/4 of the contact I get are actually from some of my viewers' parents, who are thanking me for what I do, telling me their autistic son feels like they have a place they can go now and connect, and they'll sit there and watch my videos. And I mean, I've gotten emails from some of these parents saying they'll pull up one of my videos and watch it 30 times in a row. I mean, they like the elevator experience, so they get to do it through my video.
All right, now we'll go back down to the lower level.
The whole thing I'm trying to convey to these people is, just because you have autism or some type of disability, it doesn't mean you can't lead a normal life.
Going up.
Dr. Doreen Grant-Boucher is the founder and executive director of the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. And as we just saw, Dr. Andrews has Asperger's syndrome. Talk about what Asperger's is.
Well, Asperger's syndrome is sort of a high-functioning autism. Actually, the disorder is now called autism spectrum disorder. And Asperger's is very similar to autism, but typically these are individuals who have very little delay in language, more so of a delay in the social arena.
So, what do these videos represent to you?
Well, these, individuals with autism or on the spectrum of autism generally have a type of excessive need for what's called stereotypical repetitive behavior. And when I look at these videos, they do show a certain way of looking at the world. For instance, the elevator is going up floors and you can see the changing floors. And those types of things are stereotypical, repetitive types of visions that some individuals with autism enjoy. They're sort of calming in that way.
They're comforting people who have Asperger's, and they're helpful to people who have Asperger's. Is that right?
Well, the way to look at it is, people with autism and Asperger's, I think they perceive the world in a very different way than we do. They actually have strengths that are quite different than ours. And their visual input, as well as their auditory input, they hear and see things in a very different way. Some of those things are going to be very intrusive for them. For instance, bright lights might be very upsetting. And some things will be pleasing to them. For instance, changing levels of an elevator. At the same time, they have a certain amount of anxiety because they are different, and it's very difficult for them to socially fit in. And any kind of repetitive, compulsive behavior tends to be calming, tends to be reducing anxiety. So I think a lot of these behaviors are calming because the individual finds some sense of repetition, which is safety and security.
Talk about these videos. Obviously, they're getting lots of hits on YouTube, and Andrew is convinced that most of the people there are people who are either connected to folks who have autism or Asperger's syndrome. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I think it's entirely possible. I have to say, I was kind of intrigued myself looking at them. From my perspective, it's enjoyable because I love to see someone on the spectrum enjoying something so much and developing so much knowledge around it, and then actually turning it into such a terrific social venue for others to enjoy. So I can imagine that there are definitely people on there looking and just enjoying the fact that Andrew's having such a great time with it. But probably it's going to be more enjoyable for someone who can see things the same way he does. And actually sort of enjoys the shadows and the movements and the repetition and all those features that normally we don't recognize.
Autism is often the face of a child, but there are lots of autistic people who are adults. Can you talk about your experience with autistic adults?
Certainly. Yes, of course, there are many individuals who are adults with autism, and you can have a very wide range. You will have some who are relatively severely affected and need complete care, 24-hour care. And then you have individuals who are extremely high functioning, and their most significant delay is, let's say, social skills. I have had patients who have gone through behavioral programs with me when they were children and have grown up with some sort of residual signs which are Asperger's, and they've completed their degrees in college, master's degrees, doctoral degrees, and they're doing extremely well. And if anything, they just have a little bit of a hard time fitting in socially.
Doctor, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for explaining this to us.
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now we